Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and if you're watching today, Happy New Year. It's the 1st of January 2022, so let's see what this year brings. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, something I haven't done before. I'm going to go through my sort of home studio, so home studio tour if you like. I'll go through everything that I've got, everything that I use on the hardware and software side of things. I kind of like watching these videos from other people, so I thought it'd be cool to share how I do everything in here. So we'll get and do that, and then we'll come back and I'll sort of tell the story of how it got to where it's got now and the plans I've got for it moving forward as well. So without further ado, let's get on with the tour. So what I thought I would do to start with is just show what I'm trying to do with the room, sort of with, you know, what's on the walls and stuff like that. And for me, I've always wanted a space, a sort of secluded space that is just filled with everything that's a true representation of me, if you like. So of course music passions, but just passions of things generally. And I feel that helps me come in here and just put the world away and get into a really sort of creative mindset. So on the walls so far, I got Mr. Rory Gallagher over there. That was a present from my missus, so thank you for that. And then also this here is my sort of tribute to Metal Gear Solid. So when I was growing up, I was a huge Metal Gear Solid fan, and actually that is my original PlayStation 1 edition on there as well. So again, it's not to do with music, but it's part of me and my sort of life, and that's why it's there. I also love planes, so that's my four favourite there: the Lancaster, Electric Lightning, Vulcan and Concorde. So we got a little tribute to those. Obviously this is all sort of in progress, but coming around, little poster on the wall, on the door even, saying this is my recording studio, and it's supposed to be Rory's Strat on there as well. Mr. Jimi Hendrix. I always think that in this photo though, he kind of looks a bit like annoyed, and I might actually change that because I feel like he's sort of saying, you're trying to copy me, man, and don't. So I might change that. And then coming over the other side, a little bit more of me, another planes thing. I took that photo in 2012, I think. And also, growing up way before the music, I used to build old Fords as a hobby with a mate of mine. So we did like Series 1, Series 2s, Mark 1s, Mark 2s, not Mark 1, sorry, Mark 2s, but old Fords basically, so that was really, really cool. So that's this sort of overview of what's on the walls and stuff like that. Going through this year, I want to sort of go much more on that, so finish off, you know, the guitar heroes I have for Shanty, Peter Green, but also I'm a big Formula 1 fan, so I want some Formula 1 things around, and just generally stuff like that, build it up as we go. So I think what we'll do next is we'll check out the guitars, then the other instruments, and then we'll go into the software side of things. So starting off with the guitars then, I'm not going to play any of them in this because I have done videos on each one that you can find on the channel, but we'll start, you know, just go through them. This is the acoustic guitar I use, and it's by Vintage. It's one of their discontinued models, but it's not an expensive guitar at all, and in fairness, I've had some of the best recorded acoustic tones I've ever managed to get from this guitar. And they make proper nice, you know, they're kind of known for their electrics and being hit and miss and, you know, generally pretty good, but their acoustics are really good as well. So that is the acoustic guitar that I tend to use. Don't play acoustic a great deal, but it's nice to have one. Next in the rack is this PRS Tremonti SE Custom. This is the last video I think I did on the channel, so anyone who watched that would have heard this. It's not mine, it's been on loan for a long time from a good friend of mine, but that's here. This is sort of my high gain guitar really. It likes to be really wound up, and that's why I still kind of play it. Not so much on the channel, but just when I'm playing. Next in the rack, my #1 parts caster Strat, and my #1 Strat full stop. This guitar, quick overview then I suppose, it's a Mexican 2011 body, a 2002 Mexican 60s reissue neck, 5762 pickups, fully upgraded pots and wiring and all that sort of stuff, and Clouson single line machine heads as well. I love this guitar, I keep it in standard tuning. This is a guitar I've played more than any other by a long way, so there's my #1 Strat. Next in the rack is another Strat, and this is the guitar I keep in E flat. It's my best looking Strat, I think, this Sonic Blue, 60s reissue again, Mexican. Completely standard, haven't changed a single thing on it. And again, I've had this guitar for about 2 years, and it was my first kind of proper nice, you know, step up guitar, I suppose, in a way. But I love it. Many guitars come and go in this part of the world, and this one will always stay. I'll never ever get rid of this one. So there you go, Sonic Blue 60s reissue Strat. The next one in the rack is my latest acquisition that you've probably seen. This is the 60s reissue Mexican again Telecaster, and it's a real nice guitar. I love the look, the white, the rosewood. For me, it's sort of like, you know, that's how I like a telly to be. I like a few different tellies, but that's my number one kind of choice. I've got it because I feel if you've got a kind of collection like I've got, you know, a small but very utilitarian collection, you have to have a Telecaster. But if I'm being honest, I'm not sure if I really like it that much, or tellies in general. So we'll see what happens with this guitar, but it's here for the time being. Next in the rack, I'm going to skip one and come back, is my Eastman T486. Now this guitar is a guitar that I bought initially for my reverb store, and it was the first time I'd ever tried Eastman, but I love it. It is probably my best sounding guitar. It's so characterful, so deep. Yeah, it's just a lovely, lovely guitar. And not really the sort of guitar I thought I'd ever bond with, really. 335 style, big, semi-hollow, but I do love it. The only thing that bugs me a bit, and it's bugging me a bit more the longer I have it, I find the neck a little bit too slim, and I kind of pull it out of tune quite a lot because I'm just used to grabbing a bigger neck. But nonetheless, it's still here at the moment, and I love it, and I highly recommend them for anyone who likes this style of guitar. Which led me on to selling every single pedal I had, as well as a few other things, to get this guitar, which is the Eastman SB59. The longer I've had this, the less I look at it as a Les Paul kind of equivalent, if you like. It's more just its own thing. It's a rock machine. It's a modern kind of rock machine, to be fair, but you obviously can get all those classic rock tones out of it as well. Really, really good guitar. Has it killed my desire for a Gibson Les Paul? No, it hasn't. Probably try and get one at some point. We'll see what happens. But there we go. And that's all the electric guitars. And then I do have this P-Bass as well. This is a Aria STG STGS series. It's obviously not called P-Bass, but that's what it is. All the guitars that you've seen, all the songs that you've seen me play on the channel, all the Fiverr projects, stuff like that, the bass has been done by me on this guitar. And I think having a bass as a guitar player, even a cheap bass like this, is just a really good thing to do, because you can have a lot of fun with bass. There's a lot of cool bass riffs you can just jam around on. But for home recording, you know, it's well worth having, and I definitely recommend one of these because they're cheap, cheerful, reliable, and they just work quite well. The only other guitar that I've got, which isn't a guitar yet, this is something for 2022. I was gifted this cigar box and blank wood, and I'm going to piece together and build from scratch a cigar box guitar, and then later in the year we'll probably give that away as well. So, little peek of what's coming on there. And that's it for the guitars. There isn't any more guitars here at the moment. I do have some more at work for the reverb shop, but links as always are down below for that. I think what we'll do now is get on to some of the other instruments I've got in here, and you know, the other bits of kit, and then we'll get onto the software. So for anyone who didn't know, before I played guitar, my main sort of instrument and what I was trying to learn was piano. So this is the, it's not actually a digital piano, it's a MIDI controller. It's the Roland A88, and I use this to control mainly Native Instruments software on the computer. In fairness, I don't play piano as much now because guitar is cooler, but I do like having one around, and if I wasn't to have one, I would definitely miss one. The other thing in here is my electric drum kit. So I got this kit this year when I finally got my own room after so long. And the reason why I got it was not really for me, but so that friends that I've got that play drums can come around, jam, do recording projects. I don't use the inbuilt sounds, I use it as again a MIDI controller for software, but it's the Tortec T22M, I think they call it. And in fairness, it hasn't had as much use as I thought it would, but I do use it as a sort of timing practice tool, and you know, while I'm lucky enough to have the space, I'll keep it, and I'm sure it will see some use in 2022. So we'll get on now, I think, to the sort of software computer side of everything, and then we'll get on to the last parts of the video. So here we go then, the software side of things. Everything you've ever heard on the channel when it comes to guitars has been recorded into the DAW that I use, which is Studio One. Anyone that's on predominantly PC, but even Mac as well, I definitely recommend Studio One. But only if you're more willing to use third-party plugins. If you want something more complete, I'd probably recommend Logic over Studio One, but you're only limited to, you know, Mac users then. So it's a bit of sort of whether you're into Mac or not, but I definitely recommend Studio One. It's a really good system. And the speakers that I use are the Yamaha HS5s. As sort of reference monitors, they are very, very good. But the reason why I use these is because if you're using them as just, you know, guitar practice, I think that they're much better than the KRKs and some of the other similar budget monitors. The Yamahas to me sound best with just a guitar, and because I'm not mixing a great deal, I put that as a priority, so that's why I ended up with the HS5s. Interface wise, I might struggle to get the camera to focus here. So this is the interface I use. It's the Focusrite 18i20, and the reason why I use that is because every single thing you see, the piano, the drums, if I need mics or multiple guitars, I can run simultaneously with this interface, and it's just really reliable. It works, and you know, if you want to use a lot all at once, I would probably recommend using one of these. The computer I use, which is just tucked away down there, it's a gaming computer. So if you just imagine a sort of half decent spec from 2 years ago or so, I can do a video of that on its own if anyone is interested in computers, but it's something I want to move along this year. So I think what we'll do now is we'll just have a little chat about, you know, how the studio got to here and my plans for it this year, and then that'll be the video. So that's a tour of pretty much everything how it is at the moment. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I've never done this kind of video before where you're just showing like, look at this, look at this. But you know, everything you've just seen in this video is been a process of work that started 4 years ago when I started playing guitar. I knew that this was kind of what I wanted, and it wasn't until August just gone that I finally had my own room to kind of put it all together and build it in. Until then it was in the back of bedrooms, living rooms, you know, just wherever you could kind of squeeze it. So I suppose what I want to say is if you watch videos like this and you're kind of down about what you've got, then just don't be, because that is not the point. The point is that you use what you've got, you enjoy it, you know, you put it to good use, you make music, and you know what, it doesn't matter if it's expensive, if it's a lot, if it's a little, it just doesn't matter. And over time, the things you want will come together. And just a quick word as well to you know, to my partner for one, who lets, I never have to hide anything from her. I don't have to like sneak things in. I just say, you know, I'm looking out for this, and she'll help me, and she'll let me spend time in here as well. And you know, that is all, you know, important for the channel and for creative people in general. I think they just need to have that space, and I'm fortunate enough to have that. So you know, little note there. Going forward then from here on, things I want to change. So anyone that watches my videos with headphones, which I hope a lot of you do because it would sound a lot better, you might notice the annoying noise in the background all times, and that's my computer. I've tried to put the fan curves really low so they don't come on, but it's just constantly making noise. So hopefully that's one of the first things I want to change. But to go over to Mac, it's super expensive, and I don't want to just have the same problem with a PC, so that's kind of in the process. But you know, growing everything within the means that I have, that's one of the priorities. I definitely want to change that computer or even go back to Mac, but again, they're just so expensive, it's hard to tell kind of thing. And then, yeah, like I said earlier, I've only been in this room since August, which I suppose is a little while, but things take time, you know, money and everything else. I want to fill up the room with more things that I love to make that creative space even more sort of personal to me. Guitars, I am on the lookout for a Maple Neck Strat, I think, next. The PRS Silver Sky SE is about to be unveiled as well, but you know, are they going to try and charge loads more than a Player Series? We just don't know. So there will be guitars coming and going in the studio. Quick word as well for my Reverb store. At the minute, there's a big sale on everything on there. There's nothing sort of, you know, really high-end, crazy, exciting on there, but there are a lot of good value on there. So check that out if you're, you know, looking for something, you know, a spare or a first guitar, whatever. Just check that out. And this year I'll be working very hard to kind of bring that up to, you know, a lot of the guitars that you see on the channel, you know, find other guitars and build that up as well. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I did leave things out, like I've got a whole load of you know, guitar maintenance tools from Crimson that I use on my guitars and the Reverb Shop guitars. You know, storage for leads, different mics and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video, something a bit different, and maybe we'll come back again in a year's time, see what's changed, and hopefully we can all, you know, grow the channel and have the community even bigger than it is. And that's it. So just to say again, Happy New Year if you're watching today, and normal videos to come back soon, as well as a lot of new type of videos in 2022. So thanks for everything, and I'll see you on the next one.